Clearly, the world is changing faster than anticipated. So we have the markets right now moving upward. And then also 72 hours ago, we had the advisor of President Putin calling out the US's crypto scheme and how they're planning on washing away 35 trillion in stablecoin with cloud money. And this, my friends, is something worth talking about. Okay, so I want to take a minute, share some thoughts in reference to just current activity as we start the week off, because it's going to be historical again as we witness gold and silver continue to trend upward. And so right now, at the time of this recording, we're looking at 41.55 silver and we have 36.43 gold. And it's still early morning. Then again, anything's possible as far as a slam down, but I wouldn't hold my breath because based upon the stuff I want to share with you here, it's good to say a lot of this momentum, of course, is obviously East driven and it might pick up faster. And the West responding with their alternative as far as more crypto clarity heading into this fall, because they need this pump to continue on the wealth transfer. So I want to share with you just some headlines that caught my attention and an excerpt from a video from the president's advisor, Putin's advisor, who talked about basically calling out on the carpet the U.S. for what they're doing, and the fact that it shouldn't be a surprise that the world reserve currency, aka the Federal Reserve note, is being threatened severely. And what better way to continue the lifespan of it other than to create synthetic currencies to pump it up? So I'm going to share my thoughts with you. And of course, just highlight more of what I've been saying about the importance of rethinking everything, especially the dollar, aka Federal Reserve note. So let's jump right into it. So here's an article from Pravda, translated into English. And so it says, Putin's advisor, Kovalov's, the U.S. has devised a crypto scheme to erase its massive debt at the world's expense. And so this here took place over the past weekend. It was an Eastern Bloc Economic Forum. And so here we have Putin's advisor basically reading a speech. It's a minute 15 here, but they had a translation I'm going to read in a minute. But once again, in front of all the Eastern region individuals that's at that forum, highlighting to them and telling them the U.S. game plan. Because it's not surprising that that was going to be the play all along because of the sudden desire for the U.S. to adopt stablecoin legislation. And of course, give every approved institution, including the World Liberty Financial, which is the Trump's family's project, approval for stablecoin creation. Ultimately, the way of supporting the U.S. government by buying debt. And so here we are now. Gold is taking off, silver is taking off. And of course, next will follow cryptocurrencies strategically, because the goal, of course, is to make it appear that this is an authentic movement when all along it was scripted way back before any of these individuals were in positions of power. And I'm going to point to that in a minute. But I will just read to you briefly some of the details of what was said in this speech here. It goes on to say, Putin's advisor, the U.S. devised a crypto scheme to erase its massive debt at the world's expense. Says the U.S. is now trying to rewrite the rules of gold and cryptocurrency markets. Remember the size of their debt, $35 trillion. I want to say these two factors, crypto and gold, are essentially alternatives to the traditional global currency system. It says Washington's actions in the area clearly highlights one of its main goals is to urgently address the declining trust in the dollar. It says in 1930 and 1970s, the U.S. plans to solve the financial problems at the world's expense, this time by pushing everyone into the crypto cloud. It says over time, once part of the U.S. national debt is placed into stablecoins, Washington will devalue the debt. Put simply, they have 35 trillion currency in debt. They'll move into the crypto cloud and devalue it and start from scratch. That's the reality for those who are so enthusiastic about crypto. And so here we are now. The crypto cloud is what the Russian advisor is referring to, this whole movement of decentralization and the race to further advance and expand the monetary system and things of that nature. And of course, as he's calling it, he says stablecoins at the heart of it. But then again, this aligns directly with what we already kind of knew, didn't we? Here we knew at some point the fiat Federal Reserve notes and all the other currencies would come crashing down. And then we were told in 1988 that by 2018, we should get ready for a world currency. As I've been covering this for so long now, I've speculated on all types of things of what it could be. It could be Bitcoin, it could be this, could be that. But clearly, this administration, especially in order to keep the dollar head honcho, the goal clearly is through stablecoin usage. And so by giving these institutions a rein to create stablecoins by supporting the government debt, the whole goal was to spread synthetic dollars, aka stablecoins, around the world even further than what they have thus far. And look no further than a financial services report that came out in 2023, which highlights that exact same statement where it says stablecoins can keep the dollar the world reserve currency. And so this was during the Biden administration when that administration was so harsh on cryptocurrency. And so what it happened to be the case that now we have a more crypto-friendly president now that's so excited about stable coins because his family is also a part of this. And then you have all the tech people around him that's also trying to continue to build out the infrastructure to really make sure that the synthetic dollars are circulating globally in accordance to what the Russian advisor mentioned the U.S. is trying to do. And so the fact that the Russian advisor is calling out the U.S. for what they're attempting to do shouldn't be surprising, because the president himself mentioned what was a possibility with the usage of stablecoins when he said it'd be probable that he could use stablecoins to pay off the national debt. So there you had Donald Trump joking and laughing, of course, talking about writing a $35 trillion check on a piece of paper and just writing off our debt. Wouldn't that be nice? Everyone's laughing and giggling. So here we are now in the midst of the global reset. Stablecoin is meant to be the world reserve currency still, but I don't think Russia's going to have that. Hence the idea of gold and silver continue to rally forward, because not only of supply side of things with silver, of course, we know that's going to be something that's going to be a continuous issue. But then again, gold was rallying well before silver began to really gain its momentum. So here we are now in the midst of the reset, and gold and silver will continue to climb higher because the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, and all other fiats will continue to fall faster. But what I anticipate happening in the next couple of months, especially around this Federal Reserve cut, the goal is literally to juice the markets. And so as a result of that, gold and silver will go higher. And of course, crypto will follow, because as a part of the Western's agenda to divert and distract the world on what's real and what's not, the crypto cloud, according to the Russian advisor, will continue to accelerate. And of course, from that, synthetic dollars, aka stablecoins, will continue to be the filter and the siphon for all those crypto gains to go back into stablecoin. Then a stablecoin money will continue to expand, because that's how they will fund the government. So here we are, world reserve currency being exposed, synthetic dollars, the new lifeline extension for the Western Hemisphere, and Russia and all the other enemies of the U.S. will continue to press for gold and silver to go higher. Therefore, it's going to get really, really, really rocky in the next couple of weeks on a day-by-day action as we watch gold and silver continue to climb, ultimately saying that the Federal Reserve note and all the other fiat currencies are in trouble. But again, the Russian ruble and the Chinese yuan are also in the same boat. So literally, I see more pressure on the Western Hemisphere to respond outside of the tit for tat when it comes to the narratives on crypto and gold. And then, of course, you had Donald Trump signing an executive order talking about the Department of Defense becoming the Department of War again. So clearly, we can hear the war drums beating. But once again, taking a minute to share my 2 cents, just trying to put some pieces of the puzzle together to help it make sense, just to highlight further the importance of rethinking everything, staying up to date on the trends, and of course, finding ways to be proactive so that you can protect and preserve everything you work hard for. But other than that, curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Drop a comment. I'll catch you guys later.